It's my birthday, everyone. Special birthday episode. I've got my favourite birthday t-shirt on. It's a cat eating pizza and tacos. Special birthday job. I know I always say it's a special job, but we get a lot of special jobs in the shop. These green suede Jeffery boots with a crepe sole. Let's see what we can do with them. Okay, cool, so welcome back. Now, who wants to be the first to guess how old I am? Let's pop it down in the comments so you can get in there first. I will tell you in a bit. But first, let's talk about the job. We've got these cool green suede, sort of forest green, red stitching, Jeffery boots with a crepe sole. Now, I'll talk more about crepe in a minute, but the customer actually asked if I would like to do a video on this, so I said, sure, why not? We haven't done a crepe sole repair on the video yet. What we're doing is obviously replacing the crepe on the bottom, but we are upgrading to a leather midsole also. So let's get to it. Okay, rock and roll, let's get on with the job. Or rather, let's talk about crepe first, because I haven't told you about crepe before. Some people say crepe. I've always heard it called crepe. That's what we're gonna go with for this video. Take it as you will. Now, the main benefit to crepe is it's really, really soft. Biggest downside I would say is it gets dirty. It's basically the rawest, purest form of rubber you can get, natural rubber. That's why it has this particular color. And it's sort of like a sponge, it just sucks everything up. If you remember in school, you had that one kid that always had the really dirty rubber, or a razor, you guys in the US would say, sort of like that. It's very sticky to work with, very sticky to sand off on the belt sander, but it'll look nice when it's done. One more cool thing about crepe is it's very green, it's very eco-friendly. They don't have to chop down any trees or animals to make it. They just harvest it from trees sap. Don't ask me which particular tree, but they can harvest it quite efficiently, get a lot of it out of the tree, make the soles, and the tree still stays there. So nice and friendly. And so for the job, of course, I did talk to the customer about dyeing the suede. He opted for just giving it a clean up. So we're going to give the suede a clean up. That should brighten it up a bit. Replace the crepe, but we are also putting a leather midsole in. This crepe sole is just stuck straight onto the welt and the footbed, but we're going to put a leather midsole on, stitch that on, and most importantly, we've got some red stitches on the top of the welt, so we're going to replicate the red stitching. Okay, cool. So to start with, we want to work at taking our sole off. Now, with crepe, it's funny. Sometimes you can peel it off, but if it's old or a particular type, it'll start to peel off. It's going quite well now, actually, but usually it will break, and as soon as this starts to break and be a bit of a pain, I'm going to head over to the belt sander and just sand it off. And there ain't nothing to it, but to do it, it's a bit of a messy job sanding crepe, but it's probably what I'm going to split to in a second. And while I'm just working at taking the heel off, I figured I'd show you the heel. Heel doesn't have a heel block. It's made up of stacked layers of crepe. So you'll see when we put the sole on, it's got a layer for the sole, 2 layers for the sole, another layer for the heel, another layer for the heel. So on the heel area, you've really just got 4 stacks of crepe. It comes in sheets, you see, big sheet, and we cut what we need out of it. So this is the remains. It's so sticky when it's hot. It's really weird stuff. Okay, ladies and gents, let's just get our boot on our last. Now, I've sanded down just shy of the welt, really haven't got anywhere near the welt. And another thing with the crepe, it's sort of elastic, so as you sand towards the welt, it pops away anyway. But we want to leave the welt stitching in place. Well, intact, obviously. But we should be able to just peel off the rest of the worst of our crepe. There it comes. Alright, loads of dusty cork in there, so we're going to replace the cork layer too. Come on, Mr. Crepe. It's my birthday, you're not supposed to give me any trouble. All right, that's gravy, baby. So we've got all our old cork out. We've got a nice deep cavity in these, so we can put a lot of fresh cork in there and they should be super comfy. So crack open our good old Flexofill cork filler. New tin, because it's my birthday. All right, so scoop out our cork filler. Now the footbed is worn in, so we're going to try and keep the original shape of the footbed, so it still has that unique old favourites feel to them, but with an added new layer of cushion. All right. Now, who's had a guess at my age? Let me give you a clue. If you were to take 11 elephants with 3 legs, and add all those legs together, you will have the answer. That's right, ladies and gents, I am 33. I know, I can't believe it either. All these grey hairs coming through. There we are, it's our nice new cork layer. Let's move on. All right, cool, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is our leather midsole. Now, you will have seen when we stripped the original shoe down, we had layer of crepe, layer of crepe, layer of crepe. The very bottom one was stitched onto the welt, and that's what we're duplicating with our leather midsole. We're going to stitch that to the welt. It acts as our primary layer so that it covers up the cork filler and then gives it some structure around the edge. Anything else we can stick on afterwards. Especially crepe, we don't have to worry about crepe sticking because it's the stickiest thing you'll ever find. Crepe sticks like super glue on crystal meth, honestly, it's so strong. What you would normally do if you're gluing crepe to a crepe sole is just leave a very small sliver of crepe on the original, heat that up, heat the new sole up, and crepe sticks to crepe. But we're putting a leather midsole in this one as an upgrade, so let's get to it. Right, next thing on the agenda is to pick out our old red stitches. Okay, so we're replacing red stitches anyway, that was one of the customers' requests, but we take the old stitching out so it doesn't get chewed up by the machine when we put in the new threads in. Okay, look, this is the old sole. It's like an egg monster from Mars, isn't it? Man, sore from doing that motocross boot video. Have I uploaded that yet? No, I'm not sure, but hey, listen up, just while I'm doing these stitches, I wanted to take a minute to say thank you to you guys. Being the birthday special, what better way to show some gratitude than now? And that is for everyone that's reached out over the past 6 months, be it on comments in the videos, showing support, or sending me work to do, or especially the emails I get back from customers saying they're glad, really happy with my work. It really means a lot. And it's so motivating for me to continue making videos for the channel because it does take a lot of time and energy alongside running a shop on my own. I am a one-man band, so it takes a bit of effort. But so thank you, and some of you sent me bits and bobs in the post, polishes for me to try, and chocolate, and it's just a lot of fun, isn't it? But more importantly, a number of you have asked me if I have Patreon, so you can support the channel in some small way. So I've finally pulled my finger out and set up Patreon for the channel. So any of you who are inclined to support the channel in some small way, that is how you can do it. However, your viewership and subscription is more than enough. I love every single one of you, but for those of you who have asked and want to support the channel in some small way, it's there for you. I will be doing sort of bonus content, behind the scenes stuff. I'm gonna put up a Snapchat for the shop so you see a bit more of my personal life and the things in the shop that I wouldn't normally put into videos. So that's that. Let's carry on with the job. Okay, rock and roll. Next step, midsole. So here's one I made earlier. Okay, so we've got our shoe prepared and our thin leather midsole and our egg monster. Okay, so we're gluing this together with, I'll show you, 6092. This one's called, and that's basically just rubber glue. Okay, also got my very old dirty Star Wars mug for our glue because I don't use the 62 that much. I am your father. And not your father, right? So, I've already got some glue on the midsole, but 2 layers isn't gonna hurt, and it gives you guys something to watch. Right, so if you're regular, you'll have heard me say this 40 times before. If you're new, this is for you. We let the glue dry, then we heat it up in a heat lamp to activate the glue, which makes it stick together, and we press it together. So now it's nice and hot, we can place our midsole on. Da, 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 da. I'm a cowboy, baby. On a steel horse I ride, wanted, dead or alive. Let's tap him on. And once we've given him a gentle, I'll stop hammering. Once we've given him a gentle tap, we're then just going to press it on as well. Is it going to get it? There he goes. Okay, cool. So what you just saw me do was trim around the midsole to give it the same shape as the original boot, and also just scour up the top because we're gluing it soon to put the crepe on, and we don't want to scour it once we put the stitching in lest we risk breaking the stitches, so it just makes sense to do it this way around. So now we'll stitch it on, but before that, who wants a sneak preview of next week's job? Hey, what could that be, right? You have to find out next week, won't you? So I just spent the last 5 minutes refreading the machine with red thread because we want red stitching on the boots, so of course we need red thread. Now there's two threads. You've got the top thread which is in the shuttle and the bobbin, and the bottom thread which comes all the way down from deep in the machine. I've just been an absolute donut halfway through stitching and the red thread ran out. Oh, so I've got to refred the machine, which is tricky. However, best investment I ever had. Magnetic light, see down in the machine. Oh man, makes things so much easier. Okay guys, rock and roll. So our midsole's all stitched on. Next order of business is to get our crepe on. So if you remember, I said the crepe comes in this big sheeting. So this is a fresh sheet. So what we've got to do is cut out appropriate sections for our soles. All right guys, this step's pretty straightforward. So we've got our sheet, we've got our shoe. I'm just going to use our shoe as a template to draw around a rough area of what we need to cut out for our sole. All right, yeah, this is going to look very scruffy, this drawing, I'm afraid. And we need 4 sections, 4 soles, because each shoe has 2 layers for the sole and 4 layers for the heel. Alright, cool, so we've got our crepe templates cut out. Now what we need to do is head to the machine and sand the side we're gluing, because we want it to be rough but also flat. It's bumpy from the factory finish, which is cool for the bottom of the sole, but we need it flat so the glue has a nice surface to stick to. So let's get to it. Alright guys, as you can see, I just filled up the glue ready for our gluing marathon. So this sole's already been done. Let's get started on this one. So we're applying our adhesive onto the crepe, and then of course onto the shoe as well. Right, so just gonna let that dry, and then obviously heat it all up and stick it together. But just while that's drying, we've got a surprise birthday guest.
Morning, mate. Happy birthday.
Hello.
He bought you a coffee.
Wonderful. All right, guys, this is Terry, the window cleaner. He's bought me a birthday coffee, and look, a little birthday biscuit as well. He's like the Father Christmas of window cleaning, aren't you?
Hiya. Yeah, I'm Terry. I've been cleaning the windows in Tring for 30 years this year. Yeah, I do feel like a bit of the furniture, to be honest, but
Bless him.
I shall crack on with the windows now.
All right,
Cheers.
let's do my windows, shall we?
Oh, how do you look for Will Smith in the snow?
How's that?
You look for his Fresh Prince.
Oh, God. So Terry's gone, back to business. Time to heat up our sole and stick it on our shoe. Okay, he's nice and hot, so we can press our first layer in place. All right. Okay. Now there's not too much point hammering crepe because it's so spongy and bouncy, but we're going to give it a good press anyway. Okay, so layer 1 on and trim to shape, and you know what's coming next. Layer 2. So for layer 2, we're going to have a bit of fun and turn up the heat. I'm going to show you how crepe sticks to crepe when it's hot. So I've got my heat gun here. This is actually a new heat gun I got for my birthday today. So we're just going to crank the heat on, gently apply some heat. Be very careful not to heat up my hand or Ron. Look out, Ron. So layer 2 is just hot crepe on hot crepe, no glue, as I said, and with any luck, it should magically stick together. There we go. Now this time when we press it, I'm going to press it and just let it sit there for a while the crepe cools down and sets. So now layer 2 is on nice and securely. We need to trim around the edge and start making it look presentable. So the funny thing about finishing off crepe is it likes to melt and get dirty, obviously. So we put a fresh band on the machine so it cuts through it really efficiently, and that's how we get a nice finish. So let's hit it. All right, awesome. So sole finished, nice thick sole on there. Now we can move on to the heels. Okay, so for the heel, it should be super quick, exactly the same process as the soles, but with less. So these, we use the old heel, here he is, as template to make our rough shapes, and we're stacking them, as I said in the beginning. So stacking, what else would you stack? It's like stacking pancakes, so let's get to it. So what I'm doing is putting our two pieces together that make up our makeshift heel block, so then I can give it a bit of shape before we get it on the shoe. So same again, it's nice and hot and it will just gravitate to itself. Okay, so now I'm just going to give it a bit of shape on the machine. Alright gang, nearly there. So there's our heel all stacked up and pressed on. So it's one final trip back to the machine, sand it around and give it its proper shape. Alright, rock and roll. So our sole and heel job is done. Okay, but we're just going to turn our attention to the uppers now, give the uppers some love. So they're suede. So what we're using is a suede shampoo and of course a suede brush. A suede brush on its own works wonders for suede, but you know, shampoo is the proper job. So we're just going to get our shampoo on. Need a light coating first, see how it goes, and then brush fibres of the suede, get all that old dirt out. So straight away, you can see it's gone back to its nice deep forest green, and the nap's coming back a little. If you see I've run my finger across it, we get that nice colour change. Okay, so nearly there. Let's just pop the laces back in. And there we are, job done. Okay, so that is the video. We're done with our Jeffery West boot repair with our crepe sole. Hope you enjoyed seeing something different this week. That is the video. So if you made it all the way to the end, hit like. It helps other people see this content. Once again, links in the description for Patreon for those of you that were interested. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. I'm doing new videos every week. And the last thing I'll say is, if you're interested in a mail or the repair, get in touch with us on the Tring Shoe Repair Facebook page, and we can talk to you about your job and your repair. So once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me on my birthday for the birthday special. I'm gonna hit it and catch you next time.